My name is Juma AMISI. I am 23 years old and I was born in a refugee camp in Tanzania. My family is from Congo and I grew up in Canada. I don't remember much just because I was much younger, but you get flashbacks and stuff. But and the way my parents describe it, or my aunties describes it, because that's who I came to Canada with. So I haven't seen my parents in probably like 17 years. Um, the way they describe it was it's like very hard because they had to leave their house, leave their family, like everything, and you're living in like subpar conditions. You know what I mean? Intense and stuff. But I didn't get to experience it. My most of my life was obviously in Canada, but just knowing that you have family there that have to go through that, or even now, is tough. But I'm glad for the sacrifices that they made to get me over here. So, but I remember I have like sometimes I have flashbacks, even though I was that young, of like food coming, like and there's like I can still smell the rice and the beans to this day. It was like always the same, and people would just rush like all the time. And then the last thing I remember was like going on a plane, and I was crying because my mom was like not there. And then it was like I think it was like a cargo plane, and then I left, and that's all I remember. And then being on the actual plane over to Canada, that one was weird too because I couldn't eat like American type food for some reason. I hated it. So basically, a grant that was there for young mothers, right, to get them to like a different country. So she was able to apply to go to Canada, and she had a grant for her and her child, who I call my little brother now because we grew up together. But my mom, basically, she said, "Can you take my boys with you?" Right? Because I can't take care of them, and then I'll take care of the girls. So my two sisters stayed back, and then they told the officials that my mom had died, and she was taking care of three of us. So then she was able to take, they extended the grant to me and my two older brothers, right? So basically my auntie at probably like 18 and around there, 18, 19, she moved to Canada with four of us, right? So my one younger brother, he's actually my cousin, but called my brother, and then my two older brothers. So she had to move her four children over to Canada. Was that the question, sir? Yeah, okay.
That's inspirational.
Yeah. For me, it was just knowing that you don't have like your parents around, like you know what I mean. When I started playing sports in school, all the kids have their parents pick them up or stuff like that. And then for me, it's like okay, it was just like another day, and you don't have both your parents or anyone, right? So that kind of sucked. So from a young age, I had to grow up because I knew that I was there for a bigger purpose. It wasn't just like, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, at least I have two parents. I always knew that, so it was never, I was never too selfish about it. I was like, I had to get in the mindset of, I knew that people out there have already had it worse. You know what I mean? Both your parents could be dead, you know what I mean? So at least they're still living. So that's one of the things that I took with me. Yeah. So basically, when I moved, like again, I didn't have my parents around and all that stuff, so I was much more shy and all that stuff. Because obviously, as a child, you're going through it. You're like, yeah, you don't have your parents around, and you're just going through the days, the motions. There's this ice hockey program that just came to my city at the time, and I was living like in the hood, basically, you know what I mean, very poor part of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So I got into that program, and I was really, really good at like ice hockey right away, and much better than all the kids they had there. And it was crazy because obviously I hadn't seen snow or ice before, but I was skating faster and doing all that stuff. So as I grew up, they kind of put me through real hot, like an actual team, and I was going up the ranks in there. And I was on many sports teams, and I was doing very, very well. Like I got the opportunity to even play rugby at some point, Rugby Canada. So those kind of programs helped me build myself up. But in terms of like speaking charisma because I wasn't shy anymore and whatnot. I hated reading. All I wanted to do was play sports because sports was like my way of like escaping, you know. When you get home, the reality is it's like my life's not the same as everybody else's. So I would play sports. I remember like teachers would be like, because I was doing so bad, but I knew I could do well, you know. I just didn't like it. But I wanted to go ask my teacher because I was like, man, I want to go to university and like do all this, and then they basically told me it was like, based off your mark here, it's unrealistic you'll ever go to university, like you're not like that, you know. So my older brothers, like, they never did so well, like, so I'm basically like the last chance from my mom, you know what I mean, to do well and get them up and all that stuff. So I have that pressure on my shoulders, making sure I'm working at the same time, sending money back home to send all the kids to schools, make sure they're eating, make sure the medical bill they pay, because people get sick a lot over there, you know, malaria and things like that. So I transferred over to the University of Alberta, which is in Edmonton, back in Canada. Total was like 5-year degree, and then I was able to accomplish that. So that was like one of my biggest accomplishments, because back when I was in grade 8, I kind of had this like master plan that I wrote, and it was like what I wanted to do in the future. Because I told you, like, I had to grow up real fast when I was young. So basically, I had this vision board that I literally drew in grade 8. I still have it, but I'm pretty on track. So it felt nice, but a long road, but I finally got there, and I was the first one to graduate my family. During the school year, just working, grinding, I sacrificed that. I thought about those people that said, you know, oh yeah, you wouldn't make it. You're not smart enough for university. You can't do that. Or some lawyers that told me that, yeah, you can't get into law school because, you know, they look at your color sometimes, you know. And I had my dreads, and they're like, man, what's this guy doing? You know? So that was just a good feeling, you know what I mean? Just to get into it, make sure I got into a Canadian law school. I had to always grow up living, knowing I have like a full family to take care of, right? I had mouth I was feeding, taking care of people, taking care of my parents, you know, making sure people are okay, while also trying to be a kid growing up. It's very difficult, but that motivated me because I wanted to get to a higher level to uplift everybody. When I was like younger, I remember I was like used to like cry at my window like every single night, man. Like, it was bad. So that's like probably the toughest part, because again, like, I'm with my auntie, which I love her to death, but like the bond that you have with your parents, especially like as a boy, like every man has like the bond that you have with your mother is like something like, you know what I mean, it's non-comprehensible. So it's like that was probably the toughest part, just not being able to see them and stuff like that. So yeah, my degree was, oh man, it felt nice, but like, I don't know, like, there's a moment of like relief, happiness, a little bit. It was nice that the whole family got together. We did like a big celebration for me. But to be honest, like, it was like half a day of like, or half a moment of like, man, I really did that. And then it was kind of just died down, and I was just back to work again, right? So when people see refugees, they're just like, what does this person do in my country? He's taking us away our jobs and doing this, so they're bad drivers, this, that. But they don't understand that those people, they wouldn't be in your country if they had no other option. Nobody wants to leave their country, you know what I mean? But they're there for a reason. So like, there's some bad connotations with it personally, not from me experiencing it, but from seeing others.